Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 342nd Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. As you can see, this battle was fought on the Flatlands map. Okay, our first teammate is Brotherhood member Steve Longshanks. A lot of you will know Steve Longshanks, very good player. And as you can see there, he has bought, I think it's, yeah, it looks like the standard 31k army of 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. The only exception with the standard army is he has bought the Eagle unit there, obviously to give his troops more morale. So he's not only got his general morale bonus, but he's got his Eagle unit morale bonus there as well, which could be very useful if the battle goes down to the wire. And his cavalry, let's have a quick look at his upgrades. He's got 7 upgrades, so that's an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack. So that's a pretty good army there with by Steve Longshanks. Our next teammate is RTW player Lee. A lot of you will know Lee, very good RTW player, and he's got an unusual army here, as in he's got 18 infantry, 18 infantry and just 2 cavalry. So look at the upgrades on his cavalry. He's got experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack on his cavalry. Just a few statistics about this army. 18 urban cohorts equates to 1,476 infantry. Now each one of those infantry can throw 3 pilers each, and that means that entire army can throw 4,428 pilers. 4,428. So if only a quarter of those pilers get a kill, this army could kill 1,000 enemy troops before they even draw their swords and go into combat. But will 18 infantry make up for just 2 cavalry? I guess only time will tell. But as I say, that's a massive amount of pilots that army can throw in. Okay, our next teammate is Brotherhood member Legion 22. A lot of you know Legion 22, very good player. Now he's got an unusual army build here. He's got, if you notice, he's got 4 archer units there. So that's 4 archer units, but even more unusual, have a look at the upgrades on these archer units. 7 upgrades. So he's got an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack on each one of his archers. Now that's a high amount of upgrades to put on your archers. There must be a reason for that, and that might well show itself during the course of the battle. But he's only got 10 infantry. 10 infantry for the modern day battlefield. But let's have a look at the upgrades on that infantry. If we go in a bit closer, you can see he's got 7 upgrades. So that's an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack on most of his units. So he's got a couple of units with just gold shield, gold attack, which will probably be his pilot shield units. But the majority of his infantry have got an experienced stripe on them. Okay, there's only 10 of them, but will that experienced stripe make a difference? We'll just have to wait and see as the battle unfolds. And let's look at the upgrades on his cavalry. Okay, he's only got 6 upgrades on his cavalry, so that's gold shield, gold attack. So that's an unusual army there. He's chosen to put more upgrades on his infantry and archers rather than his cavalry. So it'll be interesting to see how well that army does during the course of the battle. Our 4th teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who has bought the Rome Scipio faction and bought that old usual army of mine of 12 infantry and 6 cavalry. Okay, I know that Steve Longshanks and Lee and myself have been playing Rome Total War since it first came out, so we really are veterans, and I know that Legion's been playing for about 10 years as well, so we've certainly got the experience on our team here. But as I've said it before, we are just weekend warriors now. We only play a couple of hours on a Friday and a couple of hours on a Saturday. And to stay good on this game, you need to play a lot to keep yourself sharp. So it'd be interesting to see this great army that we're up against, the team that we're up against, really good modern players who play a lot. Will we still have the edge that we once had? Or have we lost that edge? I guess only time will tell. And here is the other team. We have Titan Sparky. A lot of you will know Titan Sparky, very good player, and he's bought the Rome SPQR faction. Now if you look at that army, I think he's bought the bog standard 31k army, 14 infantry, 6 cavalry. Let's have a look at the upgrades on his cavalry. As you can see, he's just got 6 upgrades, and that's gold shield, gold attack, but that is the bog standard 31k army. Remember, new players to Rome Total War, 14 urban cohorts and 6 Praetorian cavalry. Okay, Their next teammate is IOWS Rax. A lot of you will know IOWS Rax, very good player. If you notice there, he's got 3 archers, and I think he's got 12 infantry. He's got 3 archers and 12 infantry there from what I can see. Maybe only 11 infantry actually. 11 infantry and 3 archers. If you notice, he's put 4 upgrades on his archers. And he's got an Eagle unit as his general. I just want to say to newer players to Rome Total War, if you choose an Eagle unit for your general, you need to keep that Eagle unit completely out of combat. Only use it as a very, very last resort, because the Eagle unit will break easily in comparison to an urban cohort unit. So bringing an Eagle unit is okay, because you've got 120 men there, so that's 120 pilots you can throw. But if it's attacked, it is more likely to break easier than a urban cohort unit, and then you lose all your general morale. I see he's got 6 cavalry, and I see he's got 7 upgrades on that cavalry, each one of those cavalry. So that's an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack. So that's an interesting army. 11 infantry, 3 archers, 6 cavalry. Okay, their next teammate is Titans Mohammed, and he's also bought the Rome SPQR army, and I think he's got the standard 14 infantry there. Yeah, he's got 14 infantry, which is of course the standard, as we said, the bog standard army, and he's got 6 cavalry. Have a quick look at the upgrades on his cavalry, as I know new players like to do this. Right now he's only got gold shield, gold attack on his cavalry. So as I say, that is the bog standard 31k army. And then our 4th teammate is Chimera Bubo. Now a lot of you will know Bubo. Remember Bubo, very good player, and he was always good with pikes. And he's bought the Seleucid faction. Now if you notice that his formation here, if you notice that the first 2 layers of his formation, 6 upgrades. So that's just gold shield, gold attack. Now with Seleucid morale being so low, you really do need a stripe if you can, to give them that extra morale. But if you notice, his reserve force, if you like, have got 8 upgrades. So his troops at the rear of his formation have got 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. So that's quite a good plan to do that, keeping his reserve force, if you like, till the end. And now we go on to the infamous Cataphract cavalry, the tanks of the ancient world. Remember, we call them tanks of the ancient world because they're armoured from head to toe. But he's only put 6 upgrades on. They've only got gold shield, gold attack. I think, as I say, these Cataphract cavalry are good cavalry, but they need at least an experience stripe on them, in my opinion, to get the most out of them. So it'll be interesting to see how well that cavalry does during the course of the battle. And he's got 1 unit of companion cavalry. So he's got a Seleucid Cataphract tank cavalry and 1 unit of companion cavalry. These are quite fast moving, but can still do a lot of damage. So there's the enemy team there. Now, as I said to you before, these are new modern players, very good modern players, who are very keen. They play together a lot, and they've all got that edge to their, that winning edge to their game. We know this. They're all really good players. All of you will know these 4 very good players. And as I say, if you play, a lot of veterans will know what I mean. If you play together a lot and you play Rome Total War a lot, you do get a winning edge to your game. Now, as I say, we really are the weekend warriors, as I've said before. We just play on a couple of hours on a Friday and Saturday. We did have a winning edge to our game, but whether we still do or not, we just have to wait and see. It's got the ingredients to be a great battle. Okay, at this very, very early part of the battle here, you can see that the enemy Seleucid army is moving over from their flank to the centre. Now this is a traditional place for pike and spear units to go, in the centre, as they're felt to be a little bit exposed on the flanks. As you know, pike factions rear and flanks are very susceptible to attack. So as I say, they've moved their pike army there into the centre, as is a very traditional move there, and as you can see, Mohammed has moved out to the right flank there. Okay, at this very early stage of the battle, you can see here Lee is being extremely aggressive. He is an aggressive player anyway, but he is being really aggressive here. As you can see, he's laying out those aggressive credentials right from the beginning of the battle here. Can you see how he's running towards the Seleucid army there? And then he's put one unit in open order there to stop any pilots coming in from the enemy army. But remember that he's run that massive infantry army towards the Seleucid, where he can throw 4,428 pilots. 4,428 pilots into those Seleucids. And we know that the big 120-man units are extremely susceptible to missile damage. You can see Steve's moving over to his right to support him, and Legion's moving over to his left to support him as well. So that was a good move by Lee. He's looking to pilot that Seleucid army with all those pilots from those 18 urban cohort units. So he is going to cause a hell of a lot of casualties to those Seleucid pikemen before he even draws his sword and engages them. It looks to me like Lee is going to be really aggressive here on this part of the battlefield. He's going to try and be aggressive. Remember what we said before, if you're aggressive, if you attack, you keep the enemy on the back foot. They can only react to you. And that is exactly what Lee's strategy is here by the looks of it. And he's really going to pilot those Seleucid pikemen there with his, as I say, he's got 4,428 pilots to throw into that Seleucid army. You see here Steve moving up towards Mohammed's SBQR army there. I can see loads of pilots being thrown into the forward units. And then look what Lee's doing, he's attacking straight in there. He's thrown his pilots, he's weakened those forward units, and then he's attacking. As I say, really out and out aggression here by Lee. He knows what he wants to do. He looks to me like he wants to take out this Seleucid army here with his massive amount of urban cohorts. Very aggressive. Just pause the game for a second. So to say here, he is that's his strategy there, to really throw loads of pilots into those Seleucid pikemen, weaken them, and then hit them. As you can see, Steve is facing Mohammed's SBQR army there. So there's a lot of enemy cavalry out here as well with the Seleucid and the SBQR cavalry. Let's move over to the other flank. As you can see here on our left centre and left flank here, not a lot going on at the moment, but as we've seen before in other battle videos, where there is a quiet part, that can always change in a split second. So to say here, Steve is facing Mo here on this right flank. Looks like it. Steve looks to me like he's in a bit of an aggressive mood there, the way he moved forward earlier. So he may well be looking to attack Mo here on this flank. Just like to draw your attention, do you remember we looked at Legion's well upgraded archers, 7 upgrades, experience strike, gold shield, gold. See what they're targeting. Those archers are targeting, they're not targeting other archers, what they're targeting is a Seleucid. Remember, like we said, those 120-man Seleucid units are extremely susceptible to any type of missile fire, archer or pilot. They will lose loads of men from those archer fire and pilots. So as you can see here, it looks like with Lee being so aggressive on the Seleucids here, and Legion targeting them with his archers, it looks to me that this is the part of the battlefield that our team are looking to exploit. As you can see, masses of pilots going into those Seleucid pikemen there. So those forward units of Bubo's Seleucid troops there have been really weakened by pilots and archer fire as well. I can see a Seleucid unit, I think, routing already. Let's just pause the game for a second, take stock of exactly what's going on. Right, as you can see here, our ally Lee is attacking a Seleucid enemy there. But I'd just like to draw your attention to this gap. Can you see that the enemy battle line has developed quite a big gap in it? We've got a gap in ours as well. But you can see both of our flanking armies there on the enemy team and our team have left a big gap. Now that's strategically not a very good move. You need to see how we're keeping our teams together over on the left and left centre. Leaving a gap is strategically quite a poor thing to do, really. And for all the experienced players on this battlefield, to leave a gap in our battle line is something that I bet players looking at, I bet all these guys watching this battle will probably think, what were we doing there, leaving a gap like that? But as you can see here, going back to Lee's aggressive attacking strategy here against the Seleucid. Notice he's taking a couple of units out to the flank of the Seleucid there, exploiting that gap. Now I know that there's some heavy Seleucid cavalry out there probably looking to attack there, but there is that gap that Lee is exploiting there to move men round to the flank of the Seleucid pikemen. Here you can see Steve moving forward again. Seems like Steve and Lee are both being very aggressive on this right flank and right centre of ours here. As you can see, Steve moving cavalry out to the right, and then advancing his infantry forward there. As I say, both Lee and Steve being very aggressive here. The enemy have brought a lot of cavalry over to this flank. You can see the Seleucid cavalry, Mohammed's cavalry, and Sparta's cavalry have moved over to this flank as well. Steve looks like he's doing a strategical hit there with a couple of cavalry units, and bang! As those cavalry units go. Now, he would have done a lot of damage there because he hit Mo's infantry as it was moving, and that will cause a lot of casualties. Right, it looks like there's a lot of cavalry action going on here, and bang! Steve's cavalry goes in, and Sparta's cavalry is going to counter-attack him. Bang! As that cavalry goes in, and then Mohammed's cavalry attacks him. Bang! As that strikes. You can see Legion's bringing his red Julio cavalry into the fray as well, and that cavalry is going to strike hard, and bang! As that cavalry goes into the fray. A massive cavalry and infantry battle has now developed on our right flank here. Right, let's just pause the game here. So as you can see here, a lot going on here on this right flank. This could well be a pivotal part of the battlefield here. Whoever wins on this right flank could well go on to win the battle by rolling the enemy up on the other, by the other flank there, from one flank to the other. Very aggressive here by, as I say, by both Lee and Steve there. And as you can see, Legion brought his cavalry in to help. There's a lot of enemy cavalry there counter-attacking there. You've got Spartacus and Mohammed's cavalry there ready to charge in there to try and counter our cavalry attack. But as I said, you can see our team being very aggressive here on the right flank, being aggressive to keep the enemy on the back foot. That Seleucid heavy tank cavalry, I'm expecting that to charge in at any time there to support their allies. As you can see here, Lee's brought some infantry round to his flank, the Seleucid flank there, to attack. As we move on to the battlefield here, you can see not a lot going on in our left centre, and not a lot going on our left flank at this time. As you can see, Spartacus got a little bit of a glitch there with a couple of his units there over on the left flank, but luckily it's going away from our team, so he won't suffer any casualties there. You can see he's got one unit attacking my my army there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is ask you a battlefield awareness question, and I just wondered if you could tell me, if you were the other team there, okay, can you see a dangerous part of the battlefield here? Whether you got your battlefield awareness eye is watching what's going on in front of you, one of your eyes watching what's going on in front of you, and the other eye's got to watch what's going on for the rest of your team. Here you can see. Right, let's start over here. You can see there's a lot going on the right flank here for both our team and the enemy team. But from the enemy's team's point of view, with that battlefield awareness eye, can you see that the Seleucid general here has now committed all his reserve pikemen? Remember those 8 upgraded pikemen? He's now committed all his army to this particular part of the battlefield. Now this part of the battlefield is starting to look really delicate and vulnerable for the enemy team there, because if we smash a hole through this right centre of ours, then we've got that massive ground there to pour our troops through and either charge into the rear and flank of Mohammed's SBQR infantry there, or go into the left, go into that flank, turn left there and go into the SBQR army there. So this part of the battlefield where the Seleucid troops are is extremely vulnerable. And with your battle of awareness eye, the enemy should be sending units to kind of prop up this part of the battlefield. Those Seleucid cavalry are going to charge in the right flank, so these SBQR troops here should be sent over to strengthen this part of the battlefield. Both of those SBQR armies could send over 2 or 3 units there to bolster and prop up this part of the battlefield. If they don't do that, this part of the battlefield is looking to be broken. This is why I wanted to show this battle to you. Battlefield awareness. Keep an eye on what's actually going on. Okay, over here on the right flank, our right flank here, you can see we're being extremely aggressive here as we're attacking the enemy team here. The enemy have got their cavalry over here. It looks like the Seleucid cavalry is ready to charge in as well to counter-attack our attack. You see that Seleucid cavalry starting to move in, and then decides to stop and charge into the rear of Lee's attacking Scipio infantry there. Okay, so let's just pause the game here. So here on the right flank, as I said before, we're being extremely aggressive, trying to keep the enemy on the back foot, making them react to us with the aggressive way that we're attacking here. trying to take out the enemy's flank. But as you can see, the Seleucid general now is charging his cavalry in to help his beleaguered infantry, because he's got no infantry support, if you like, from his teammates here. The battlefield awareness was not really very good here from the enemy team. They needed to send infantry support over to this part of the battlefield. I can see there's some SPQR cavalry going into the rear of Lee's infantry there, but really the Seleucid general Bubo needs SPQR infantry support here to keep this part of the battlefield. Those Seleucid cavalry, as I say, charged into Lee's infantry there. That was a nice cavalry charge there. But as I say, we've talked about this before, battlefield awareness. If you're a team, you've got to keep one eye on what's going on in front of you and one eye on the rest of your team. Right, can you see Legion charges cavalry into this Seleucid and SPQR cavalry? I'm now going to back him up with my Scipii cavalry, and bang! As all that cavalry goes in there, massive cavalry hit there. You can remember, we are the red and the blue, the enemy are the Seleucid and the purple. And we are now routing a lot of that Seleucid cavalry there. Okay, so now this part of the battlefield, which we've talked about, extremely vulnerable for the enemy. Now if we smash through here with our cavalry, there's some more SPQR cavalry coming in from there, but will that be strong enough to stop our cavalry? I don't know. As you see, the Seleucid general now is hard pressed to hold, and if he collapses there, as I say, that's a major part of the enemy battle line has been broken. Over here on the right flank, you can see we are aggressively attacking Mohammed's SPQR units. But here, if we smash through with our cavalry, we can either go into the rear of the enemy Seleucid, or we can go into the rear of Mo's SPQR army here. So this part of the battlefield here is where you needed the enemy army needed to focus. The enemy team needed to focus here with their battlefield awareness eye. This is the reason I wanted to show this battle. Newer players to Rome Total War, just to say that you need to be able to support your allies when they need it. And Bubo definitely needed some support there, and also that massive gap in between Bubo's army and Mohammed's army was just waiting to be exploited there by good combination enemy attack, which we've put in there with our cavalry. Okay, so we've now smashed a hole in the enemy's battle line there, and can now turn to either flank. We can smash into Mohammed's SPQR army or take our cavalry into the back of the Seleucid cavalry. But as you can see here, we decided to switch right and charge into the rear of Mohammed's cavalry here. And bang, as our cavalry goes in. You can see some enemy SPQR cavalry charging into the rear of us, but I just don't think that's going to make a difference looking at the force that we've got here on this right flank. I say this is a very tactical battle here that I wanted to show, especially new players to Rome Total War. Right, can you see now that all of Mohammed's army has now been routed? So we now, through smashing through this part of the vulnerable part of the enemy battle line there, we have now taken out the enemy on our right centre and right flank. And so, like I say, I know I've talked about this a lot, but battlefield awareness, if you get that into your mind, one eye watching on what's going on in front of you, the other eye watching the rest of your team to see if they need help. See, most of the Seleucid infantry has now been routed there. They needed infantry support a lot earlier. I think there's a couple of enemy infantry there now, but it's maybe a little bit too late. I can see the enemy SPQR team attacking Legion's Julii team there. Remember, those archers, both enemy archers and our archers, have been shooting into our teams all the time, causing casualties with archer fire there. There you can see Legion's archers there with those great upgrades. It wouldn't surprise me now if Sparky moves some infantry units around my flank here to try and attack the flank of my army. That's a good sound tactical move to do there on that flank, but for all intents and purposes now, you can see that we're, both Legion and myself here, are holding quite well against aggressive attack by the SPQR enemy team. But as I say, over on the right flank and our right centre, because of that hole that we exploited with our cavalry, and without the enemy supporting their Seleucid ally there with infantry, then we would have been able to take out the enemy here on our flank and, as I say, our right centre. As I say before, this is a battle I really wanted to show newer players to Rome Total War, because that's a mistake, a tactical mistake there that you can make if you don't concentrate on your battlefield awareness. As I say here, you can see as I say, Legion and myself holding here against the aggressive attack of the SBQR armies there. Remember, we are the red and the blue, and the enemy are the purple and Seleucid.
And drive them from the battlefield.
Right, you can see now we've got in behind it. You notice my blue Scipio cavalry. I'm going for the SBQR general, I think there. Right, you can see the SBQR general. Remember that Eagle unit routed quite easily there.
The gods be praised.
And so all that SRAX's SBQR army has lost their morale bonus now because their general's just been taken out. So as you can see here now, we've rolled the enemy up from right to left here with, as I say, with good combination aggressive attacking tactics by our team. As you can see, there's some SBQR army charging into some of our Scipii cavalry there. Still a lot of the SBQR army facing me. Still got a lot of pilots. I can see there's a lot of pilots going into my troops. But now I'm becoming aggressive. I'm sending units in to hold them, to engage them when we get in behind them and attack their flank. So you can see Steve's brought his victorious infantry over from the right. You've got Lee's infantry. You see I'm charging my cavalry in there, and bang as my cavalry hits, as we're bringing over infantry support as well. That SBQR infantry is holding quite well. I expected my cavalry to rout more units there. It looks like those infantry may even have stripes on the way they're holding against the attack now, but I'm not sure, to be honest with you. But that SBQR army is putting up quite a good fight here. But as you can see, the numbers game here is starting to tell as we move in on the final SBQR army there. SBQR general has just been routed. So as I said, as all of you will know by now, all the morale of those SBQR troops will now drop. And we just finish off the last of the few. Just going to pause the game for a second here, just to show you the intensity of the battle here. And as I say, this is the reason I wanted to show this battle, was battlefield awareness here. As I say, the Seleucid general and Mo's army got too far apart and left a big gap there for us to be able to exploit. And what should have happened is when they saw that the Seleucid general had committed all his reserve pikes, there should have been some SBQR units, I believe, sent over there to help shore up that part of the battle line. But I guess the team didn't notice that because they were concentrating on other parts of the battlefield, which is what we've all done. We've all done that. But battlefield awareness, one eye on what's going on in front of you and one eye on the rest of your team to see where they need help. And if the Seleucid general had had infantry support there, allied infantry support, we may not have been able to break through that area where we did. So that's just, as I say, it was a battle really that I hope veterans enjoyed, but I hope new players enjoyed as well. To remember, if you can just get that into your mind, battlefield awareness when you're in a team, extremely important. We talked about this a lot within the Brotherhood. Okay, so we were lucky enough to get a clear victory there. So let's say that was just lucky to get clear. I thought it would have been more of an average victory myself. Just draw your attention to Lee's kill. Now remember how aggressive he was being towards a Seleucid pikeman there. 1,903 kills for Lee, and I bet a lot of those were pilot kills there. So really well done to him. The enemy team probably didn't get the kills that they really liked. I think X-Rax did well with 1,358, but I don't think his teammates would be very pleased with the kills that they got there. They probably wanted more than that. As you can see, our team got an average. Both Steve and Legion got good kills, and myself not too bad. I'd just like to say really well done to Chimera Bubo, and really well done to Mohammed, Esrax and Sparky. But that gap between Bubo and Mohammed, I think, may well have been the Achilles heel of the team, if you see what I mean. When you play team battles, you should keep together. Keep your teams almost touching all along the battle line there, so that you don't leave big gaps to be exploited. But I'd just like to say really well done to Bubo, Mohammed, Esrax and Sparky. It was a great battle there, but really well done also to Lee, Steve Longshanks and Legion 22 there. As I say, Lee got some really great kills there through his aggressive attacking tactics right from the very beginning. And I think with Steve Longshanks and Legion backing him up there, I mean, Lee led the charge and they really backed him up. So really well done to Lee, Steve Longshanks and Legion 22. I suppose I did okay as well. So I hope you enjoyed this battle, and remember, battlefield awareness, very important. This is Spartan Commander saying bye for now.